Hey, all you Disney fans, especially you Monsters, Inc. and Muppet fans. I am coming to you today not on the move as usually the case for Maza's mobile musings, but seeing as there are some things in the works that just couldn't wait until the next episode, I got in front of the mic and decided to say a few things about it. As you may or may not have heard, Hollywood Studios is going to undergo a pretty substantial change. We knew from the D23 Expo that Monsters, Inc. was going to have a new land coming in that was going to be complete with a ride where you were basically a suspended roller coaster through the doors as featured in the film Monsters, Inc. Now, one of the prevailing theories on where this was going to go, because where it was going to go was not announced at D23, was the Muppets courtyard, which includes Muppets 3D, Pizza Rizzo, and that whole area. Well, Disney today, in fact, confirmed that Mike and Sully and their friends are moving in. And Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, and all of them are going to be moving right along. But they are staying in the parks. They are headed to Sunset Boulevard, where the Muppets will be taking over Rock and Roller Coaster. Now, Eileen and I had talked in a prior podcast about the prospects of first the Monsters, Inc. ride. Actually, before the Monsters, Inc. ride, we talked about the potential of retheming Aerosmith retheming the Rock and Roller Coaster because Aerosmith had retired from touring because Steven Tyler's voice just couldn't recover from injury. So we had our theories. Our theories never involved the Muppets teaming up with music's biggest stars for a rockin' music festival, as the Disney Parks blog describes this. So I know that many people are very protective of and very much against the discontinuation of Muppet Vision 3D. There was all kinds of letter writing. There were petitions. There was hashtag Save the Muppets. And I'm just going to preface all of my thoughts on these moves with this. Nothing that you're feeling is invalid. If you are upset that one of your favorite attractions is going away, you have every right to feel upset. You have every right to be sad. Don't feel you have to defend yourself to anybody. That's perfectly fine. But at the same time, also understand that other people have other feelings about it. So, I have the unpopular opinion that all of this makes total sense. It's the space that fits for what they want to do with Monsters, Inc. We had theorized that it could be the animation courtyard, but as one of the, I can't remember who it was, but one of the Disney Twitter accounts, it's Mickey Central. They had actually pointed out way back in August when this was first announced that the engineering just wouldn't work. The size and scale of what they needed to build didn't fit that space. And especially, yes, there are some buildings behind there that are office space that are figuratively expendable because they aren't necessarily customer forward. It's expensive for office space. And secondly, they pointed out that those offices could also be considered historic because they are original to the park and they were originally used as studios, as working studios. So there is a historical aspect to those that is important as well. And look, I love Muppet Vision 3D. I think it's terrific, and I understand that there is a real attachment to it, and I have a real attachment to it because it was one of, if not the last thing Jim Henson worked on before he passed. But I think that one thing that we have to remember, and I think it's something that Jim Henson understood when this was all part of a process, is that these parks are always changing. And that is something that, goes back to one of Walt's, pillars of this whole thing, is that there's always going to be change in the parks. I do take with a grain of salt what they're saying about, they said, as the Disney Parks blog states, as we move forward with these changes, we are having creative conversations and exploring ways to preserve the film and other parts of the experience for fans to enjoy in the future. Look, I don't think that they're going to do anything that's going to make everybody happy. I do think that this is a lot of corporate speak for we may do nothing with this, and that would be especially sad. But I feel like Disney also has a pretty good handle on preserving its history, even if things leave the park. There are always ways that they look back on these things. You look at something like the Periscope Lounge on the new cruise ship, which is a callback to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. There's always something. So I'm rambling on a little bit here, but I think that the Monsters, Inc. attraction in that whole area is going to be an absolute home run. I wish there was another place to put it. There isn't. So this is what is happening. And I do sincerely think that this is a really cool concept for maintaining the Muppets in the park. I do still think that animation courtyard space is an underutilized space where perhaps you can incorporate more Muppets. I don't know if we necessarily need the launch bay anymore. So, I think that there is some room for reimagining some things, to let the Imagineers work their magic and maybe be able to get the Muppets more involved again. Because we've seen through this entire process that the Muppets still have a very strong following. And a lot of those 80s kids who love the Muppets are the ones who are spending money in the parks right now. What Disney has to determine is how they can leverage the Muppets to connect with that next generation. And they haven't really been able to do that yet. So I think that that's going to be very important for them moving forward and really will have an impact on how much more of the Muppets we see in the parks. So this is longer than normal, but that is another Maza's Mobile Musings. Hope you guys all have a great weekend. And I'm going to have some news coming up about another live stream coming up. So keep your eyes open for that. If you haven't signed up for the Maza's Musings newsletter yet, please do that. Go to mazasmusings.wordpress.com and click the button that says sign up for the newsletter and sign up for the newsletter. Or you can go to our social media and find the link tree. It's right there on the profile for all of our social media. Click that. There's a link to the newsletter sign up. Mash that button, guys. And also, if you want us to be able to live stream on more things, go check out our different social media. Smash the like button there, because some of these services require us to have a certain number of followers before we can live stream on. So, with all that said, again, have a great weekend, and thanks for listening.